right, perfect. All right, cool. Let's get right into it. So, Flatline MMA podcast episode number 4. This episode, we're going to talk about UFC Boston because it was wild. It was crazy. We were there live. We were putting out a ton of content. So that was just a crazy night. We got UFC Singapore Saturday morning. Nice morning card. Ben Askren and Damian Meyer. We're just going to preview that real quick. Then at night,
the main event go off, do you think?
So the main card is at 8 a.m. So they're probably going to fight at like 10 a.m.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I think the prelims are at like 5 a.m., which is insane.
Well, actually, that'd kind of be like the Boston card because the prelims went off at 5. The main event was at midnight. So Ben Askren will probably fight like noontime for us.
Yeah, probably. Maybe around there.
I don't know. I got to figure that out.
But UFC Singapore in the morning. At night, we got the Bellator welterweight Grand Prix final, the rematch, Rory McDonald, Douglas Lima 2. That one's just going to be absolute barn burner, so we'll talk about that. But fuck it, let's get right into UFC Boston. Dude, me and you were there. We were throwing out some content. We were going live. We're big time now, so we were going live. I think we posted every goddamn fight on there, which was
our Instagram shut down. So
Instagram shut down. The UFC did not like whatever we posted on there, which do you even know what we posted that got us in trouble?
I don't remember. I don't.
Yeah, that was insane. But we were out for 3 days, but now we're back, baby. So continuing posting content. But dude, UFC Boston, great friggin' night, man. I thought it exceeded expectations, to be completely honest. What'd you think?
Yeah, especially for the Boston guys. You know, everybody showed up. Even the guys that lost, like Wozniak, still came out. You know, great fights. He put the pressure on. So everybody was fun to watch. Yeah,
great fights. Prelims. Shout out to our boy Randy Costa. Huge first round KO. You're the man. He supports our show. He's liked and retweeted a couple of our stuff. So that's great to see him. He's a prospect coming up. So he's an exciting fighter. Like you said, Wozniak, although he lost, dude, he was eating these elbows, everything. That kid just brings it. I'm hoping that they keep him in the UFC because he's just so exciting, you know?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Yeah, Wozniak, he was looking for the win. You know, he didn't back down. He was, you know, took, like you said, a few knees, got put down a few times. But, yeah, he's still marching forward even till the end of the fight.
Yeah, he's the man. And I don't know if you checked out, they posted like this documentary on YouTube of like his whole life.
Yeah, I did see some of that.
Yeah, like how he went to jail and he was in like the same cell block as his dad. And then that's kind of where he like turned his life around. That's actually an unreal piece. So I recommend anyone to go on YouTube and look that up. It's about like 23 minutes. It's a definitely worthwhile watching.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy too, because it doesn't seem like, from what he was saying, he's been fighting for a long time.
No.
Like after like all the stuff happened, like with his drugs and whatever, that's when he started fighting. But I don't think he's that old. It seems like he started fighting like in his like 23, 24.
Yeah, he didn't start going to like gyms and stuff until, he was like, I think he got out when he was about 22. So I don't think he actually started doing legit training until he was about 23. So it's kind of crazy, like how good he is and skilled, and how fast he got into the UFC, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But he's a savage. I can't wait to see him fight again. And then we got to the main card. I thought every main card fight, other than the Greg Hardy fight, which we'll talk about, was awesome. You had Deron Winn, Darren Stewart. Deron Winn being the big favorite there. Stewart being able to take him out via decision. I know a lot of people didn't agree with that one, but overall, just a great fight there. And then next up, we had Macy Barber, Gillian Robertson. And I think this was a true test just to see how good Macy was. And holy shit, she delivered. She's a beast. She's the future. What'd you think about her?
Yeah, she's off to a great start for the UFC. 3-0. She's finished all of her fights. She's 8-0 overall in her pro record. Yeah, I mean, she's on the tear. She's looking real good.
Yeah, and you know what? I think, too, she's like, she wins. She's great on the mic. I think she speaks great. She's got good trash talk. You know, the only thing I did like, she did call out Paige Van Zandt, which I don't know how I feel about that fight. I think she might be doing that just to gain some more popularity. But
Yeah.
just
I think it's a good decision on her part because it's a fight that she can win.
yeah,
And it's good for branding. So it's a lot of people watch Paige fight. If she gets that win over Paige, then she kind of steals some of that following.
that's true.
I think from that aspect, it's pretty good. But another thing, so I guess Ben Askren was telling her to call out Valentina's sister,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
which I think would have been brilliant. But the Paige one makes sense too.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw Paige went on Twitter. I think it was 2 days ago, and she literally tagged every single fighter in that division except for Macy Barber. And I think it was supposed to be kind of a troll at her, being like, "You don't have any respect for me, so I'm not even going to call you out," which I thought was a genius move, which I think sets up a fight for both of them. So I think that's what's going to happen next, honestly.
Yeah, I think that fight's going to happen unless it seems like Macy really wants it. I think Paige isn't afraid of her. So yeah, I see that fight happening. That'd be a fun one.
That would be a fun one, and I think Paige has showed her weaknesses, but I think she's still a pretty good fighter, man. But I think that'll be a great scrap.
Yeah. As long as she comes in healthy, I know she's had problems with her hand.
Yeah.
A few surgeries on her hand. I think there were some other injuries that she had. But yeah, as long as she comes in healthy, it'll be a good fight.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a scrap. Next up, we had our boy Joey Lozon just demolishing Jonathan Pierce in round one. Dude, I've been in a lot of stadiums before, a lot of arenas. How loud was that place when he walked out and then when he got that win? Because the TD Garden was absolutely going nuts for him.
It was definitely it was awesome. For him, it'd probably be the best way to go out. And I know he's on the fence about retiring, but I don't think it'd be any better than that. Getting the win at home.
Yep.
With a packed arena. And he got to fight with a bunch of his teammates and people that he coaches, and they all had a great night too. So I think it would have been a good way to go out, but I don't know. He might still have one more in him.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I was fully expecting him to just put down the gloves, say thank you to Boston, and just walk away. Because I think everyone there, that's why they were going so nuts, because they thought that was his last fight. But dude, I don't know how you can just end your career like that. Like, it was so quick. Doesn't have a scratch on him. Like, I feel like you got to keep going. Give him one. Give him two more. So.
One thing I was confused about. So I've been reading online when people are talking about the fight. They said that he won by submission. Like, I know he had that guy's arm twisted behind his head, but I thought it was a referee stoppage due to punches.
Yeah, no, that was a TKO win. That I don't know if people are saying he might have tapped. I don't know what the deal is.
The UFC put that out too. I think like the UFC put out an ad with like a little highlight of his fight, and it said that Joe won by. It must have been a typo or something, but
no, 100%.
Pretty contorted,
dude.
It was bad.
That guy couldn't even move. Like, that must have been the most uncomfortable position.
Oh yeah.
You can ever be in this sport. It's kind of crazy, but.
Yeah, and he was raining punches down too. Like, he couldn't block his face or anything.
Yeah, I mean, flawless performance by Joe. You're the friggin' man. So hopefully we can, see you fight one or two more times. So, Boston, baby, let's go. Then next, I thought the most disappointing fight on the entire card, the heavyweight fight, Greg Hardy, Ben Sassoli. Greg Hardy, the huge favorite. He's knocking everyone out, right? This guy, Sassoli's a nobody. Overall, I thought it was just a really boring fight. Greg Hardy wins the decision. It gets overturned because he uses his inhaler in between rounds. Everyone loses their money on Hardy. People are pissed, but I don't know. What do you think about that one?
I don't know. That was such a weird thing. I mean, yeah, it was a boring fight. I forget the kid's name that he fought, but they call him the Combat Wombat.
Ben Sassoli, yeah.
The only thing I know about him. But, he came out in the third round. He was looking for the win. He was chasing Greg around, and I think that was right after he used the inhaler. So Greg was gassed at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how he's gonna hold up when he has to do 5-round fights. If he wants to be, a champion one day,
Yeah.
you
I
gotta do
mean,
something about that gas tank.
yeah, I mean, you would think too, being like I know he was a professional football player, right? You think you kind of have a better gas tank, but obviously fighting is so much different. I will give it to him though. I mean, the dude's stepping up to
Yeah.
face Alexander Volkov in 18 days in Moscow. So it's like, dude, respect to him. I know a ton of people have been saying like Greg Hardy needs to step up in competition for people to, consider him a real fighter or whatever. I mean, nothing but respect for the man because Volkov's an absolute beast. He's a monster. And we'll see. I mean, if Hardy can knock him out, he just plummeted up the rankings. Like
Yeah.
he skyrocketed, man. So that one's going to be interesting to see, especially because he just went to a 3-round fight. He gassed, and now he's fighting a dude, a Russian. You know, all Russians got great like gas tanks. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what he's going to do in that fight.
Yeah. It looked like in that fight too, where he threw that illegal knee. It looked like he was gassing in that fight too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's been so much controversy with him, coming in and then like his first couple fights and now this thing. So, but he's been knocking people out. That wasn't the best performance he had, but hey, let's see what he can do in Moscow. Maybe he can gain everyone's respect,
Yeah. It'd be a true test for him.
We'll see it there. And then the co-main event, which, oh my God, I wish it was the main event because we needed 2 more rounds of this.
Yeah.
Yair Rodriguez, Jeremy Stevens, the rematch, the infamous IPO card. They ran it back in Boston. Thank you, Dana, for listening to us because I think this was us. I think we put it on this card.
Yeah.
But, I mean, dude, there's not even words for this card. It was just, for this fight, it was amazing. Friggin' Yair comes out with just a flying kick to Stevens' face first second into the fight. Stevens is throwing bombs. Yair's doing flips and shit. It was just back and forth. And I think 2 more rounds of that, someone was getting knocked out. Like, what would you think about it?
Yeah, it was just a high-paced fight, fun fight to watch. The striking was incredible on both sides. They're just so high class with their striking. Like you said, we needed 2 more rounds of that.
Needed it.
It was, especially with the main event that we got. It stinks that it wasn't the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, Dana, I don't know if you saw the press conference afterwards, but Dana was like, my biggest regret is not putting that as the main event because that needed to be 5 rounds. Unfortunately, the main event, although it was still a finish, I wish it was just a little more exciting. But, dude, Yair is just so exciting. I'm excited to see where he goes from here. You know what I mean? Because it's just like his style is so unique and he does so many crazy things that like not a lot of people can, I think, withstand that. You know what I mean? And Stevens is someone that drops bombs on you, and he was, I don't think he was struggling at all, but he was landing shots, and Yair wasn't going down. So you can tell he's got a chin and a half.
Yeah, I think Yair's next test is that he has to go against another wrestler to see how much he actually has improved. Because that was his biggest weakness when it came to his Frankie Edgar fight.
Yeah.
He just got taken down and he had a tough time with it. But his striking's not in question. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, and then I guess for Stevens, I mean, nothing to hold your head down about. He's literally fought every single person in that division. He's proven he can knock anyone out. They're just going to continue giving him big fights. I can't wait to see, his next knockout. So thank you, Yair, Jeremy Stevens, unreal co-main event. You guys definitely didn't disappoint, especially after the first show on the eye poke. So I'm glad we were able to make that up and run it back in Boston. So that was awesome to see. And then the main event, Dominic Reyes, the undefeated Dominic Reyes, facing Chris Weidman, who it was his light heavyweight debut. Didn't go his way. Reyes just absolutely starched him. It was another violent KO. So I don't know. From here, it's like, hey, Reyes looks like the next superstar, man. He's undefeated. He's unblemished. Calling out John Jones. Hoping to see that fight next, but we'll see. I know there's a couple other fights, like the Johnny Walker, Corey Anderson fight. That could be next up for Jones, but just to go off of like Weidman and what the hell he does next, I know people were like, retire. Personally, I think he should just go back down to middleweight or stay at light heavyweight, fight Rockhold again. That's what I think he should do. Because I think it's two guys that have just been on terrible losing streaks. They both have no chins anymore. Let's just have them duke it out one last time, whether it be at middleweight or light heavyweight.
Yeah, I think both of those guys should retire. To be completely honest, you know, the amount of shots that those two have taken to the head at this point in their career, it's, you know, there's no coming back from it. You know, you can't train your chin like what's his name was saying, Cody Garbrandt. You know, once it goes, it's gone. You know.
Yeah.
You know, Weidman's had. So this one right here, Reyes, Ramiro, the knee,
Jacare.
Jacare.
He had a win versus Gastelum, but then the first Rockhold's the one that kind of ruined everything for him.
Yeah,
he was undefeated at the time. And Rockhold just ruined him.
Yeah, man. But
Weidman, I know you're a competitor. You're probably gonna want to fight again. Just fight Luke Rockhold. Let's just see that because I think that'd be a great fight, funny fight. So.
Yeah. I mean, if both of them do want to keep on fighting, which I think Luke Rockhold's a little bit more on the
retirement side,
side of things. If they are gonna fight at all, I think it would make sense for the two of them to fight because people still pay to see them, you know, compete.
Oh yeah.
And you know, it's kind of got a backstory to it. They fought once before when they were both at the top of their game, and now, you know, they can do it again. And I don't know, see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, it's, hey, you know, respect to him. He came up a weight class, took on an absolute monster in Dominic Reyes, who, I mean, the dude's unblemished. He looked friggin' phenomenal. So, and then just going to Dom Reyes, he looks so good. Is he the next guy in line for John Jones? I mean, it's just the next one up for Jones, right? It's just, you keep hearing this next guy up. This guy's going to beat Jones. This guy's going to beat Jones. So, in that fight, you know, I hope he's next just because he's undefeated. I'd like to see Jones with a little bit of challenge. Reyes is 6'4", you know, same size as John. So I definitely like to see that fight just because of the size. They're very similar in size. I think Reyes got power. So I don't know. We'll see what John does. He's kind of holding out, being like, I want a super fight. I want to go to heavyweight. I want to fight the winner of Stipe DC. So I don't know, man. It's like, do you think he gets that shot next?
I don't know. I think he needs one more fight before fighting John Jones.
That's what he was saying anyway. He needs one more fight. But Jones was saying that to Reyes on like Twitter.
Yeah. I think that would make the most sense.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Jones is a whole different animal.
Seriously, right? But yeah, I mean, dude, overall, just great card. I was so pumped to be there. I know we had a friggin' awesome time. Hopefully everyone liked our content there. They need to come back to Boston because that was just such a great atmosphere. You know, next time maybe they'll do a pay-per-view. Let's get friggin' the heavyweights on there like last time we went a couple years ago. But thank you, UFC. Awesome time there. UFC Boston definitely didn't disappoint. And then moving on, just some news that came out today. Our boy, Conor McGregor, the notorious one, press conference this morning he had in Moscow. He was promoting some like betting site that he's partnered with, and he announces that the King's coming back January 18th. He didn't say an opponent. He was like, I don't give a shit who it is. I know who it is, but I don't give a shit who it is. Apparently the front runners are Cowboy and Justin Gaethje, which are two awesome fights. I don't give a crap who he's fighting out of those two because it's going to be an absolute banger. But I don't know. What do you think about the announcement? You think it's legit? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know because Conor's blown smoke so many times. Like last week, he was talking about Frankie Edgar and made no mentions of Gaethje or Cerrone. So, and he said he was supposed to fight him in December, or at least that's what he was implying. So, I don't know. When it comes to Conor, it's, you know, 50-50s. You know?
Yeah.
But those two fights are awesome. You know, him fighting Cerrone would be a good fight. I think him versus Gaethje is the fight to make, though, because then that kind of becomes like a contender fight where Khabib and Tony have to fight next.
They have to fight.
That one has to happen. The winner of Gaethje McGregor should get the shot at the champion.
Yeah, I think for McGregor to show that he's still, the man, right? You don't fight Donald Cerrone, who lost his last fight. You take on Gaethje, who's on a friggin' 3-fight win streak, all first-round knockouts. You take on the most dangerous guy, and you prove that you still got that left hand and that you can knock out Gaethje. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't come at Dustin Poirier saying you won't fight him, but Poirier knocked out Gaethje. So it's like, take on Gaethje, prove to everyone why you were at one point one of the best fighters on the UFC roster. You take that. Listen, would I watch the Cowboy Conor fight? Yeah, obviously I'd watch that. That would be an absolute war and a half, and someone's probably going to die in that fight. But the Gaethje fight is so exciting because Gaethje has literally come out and said, I will go to the center of the octagon and I will stand and bang with Conor McGregor. I won't even take him down. I'm going to prove to people that he can be knocked out. Who doesn't want to see that? I want to friggin' see that. I know you want to see that too. So,
absolutely.
Either way, both of those fights will be great. Dana actually came out today. He did an interview, and he was like, yeah, I mean, we were targeting that date, but nothing's official. So he's probably pissed that Conor released that, which is hilarious because that's such a Conor thing to do. So we'll see if that actually happens because I need me some McGregor back in my life. He's so exciting. I love his trash talk. I need some press conferences. I need some friggin' dollies being thrown, some chairs being thrown, whatever. I need some more excitement. So, but he kind of laid out like his 2020 plan. I don't know if you saw that too, but so he said, I want to fight, either whoever it is on the 18th, right? And then he wants to fight the winner of Nate versus Jorge, and then for the BMF belt, and then he wants the winner of Khabib and Tony. And if it's Khabib, he wants to fight Khabib in Moscow, so in Russia. So that's huge. I mean, I feel like he was talking like his old self when he was motivated and he wanted, all the belts, and he wanted, when he became the superstar he was talking like that. So I definitely feel like there's some hope for him. He was talking about how he's cutting out alcohol and all this stuff. So you definitely know that before the Khabib fight, all the press conferences, like he was hammered. He was shit-faced for all that, drinking his whiskey. But I hope he's actually taking it seriously now, and he's he's actually going to train. He's going to take these guys seriously because I want to see the old McGregor back, man.
Yeah. No, I think he is taking him seriously. And I think ever since that Khabib loss, I don't know. I think he's secretly been training pretty hard for it.
I think so too. So, I mean, regardless, that's going to be fun. It will be fun to see him. If he actually fights 3 times next year, that would be a gift to MMA fans, right? But just going off that, some news that, we just got it right before we started recording this. Apparently, Nate Diaz is out of the UFC 244 fight with Masvidal due to, tainted supplements.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm pissed. I'm sad. This one hurts. He put out this long statement on why he's not going to be there. Friggin' USADA, man. Why? Why does this have to happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know about it until you told me about it right before. But it just doesn't make sense because the Diaz brothers are so careful when it comes, like they're both like vegan, right?
Yep.
And everything they eat is organic, and I don't know, man. That's crazy. Unless it's like a weed thing.
Well, that's what a lot of people are saying, that it might just be a cover up for, what his brother got. His brother got banned for like 5 years for smoking weed or whatever he was doing too. So it could be that. If it is, that's just so disappointing because I was so excited for this fight. UFC 244, the card is still unreal, but whenever Nate Diaz is fighting, you're going to watch. And whenever Jorge Masvidal is fighting, you're going to watch. So it hasn't been a ton of details on that. So we'll bring that up on the next episode. But very unfortunate news just came through. So definitely very sad about that. And then just circling back, a couple awesome cards this weekend. We got the Ben Askren, Damian Maia fight, which is UFC Singapore, which is a nice, like we said kind of before, the nice early morning card. So just want to do quick predictions on that. That's going to be a friggin' grappler's dream. 2 of the best grapplers in the world going against each other. Obviously, Ben's coming back from his first ever professional defeat, flying knee 5 seconds, Jorge Masvidal. So curious to see how he's going to come back from that after, really never facing adversity in his whole career. He's never even been dropped before. You know what I mean? And then going against Damian Maia, who's just a vet, who is the human backpack. He gets you down, you ain't getting up. So I don't know. What do you think about that? What's your prediction? What are overall thoughts on that one?
I don't know. I was going back and forth with this one. At first, I was thinking Damian Maia, just because I think he's going to have the advantage with striking.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have the advantage with the jiu-jitsu. But I don't think – so when I started thinking about it again, I don't think it's going to be a significant enough advantage when it comes to him fighting Ben Askren.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's going to happen is Ben's going to take him down. I think he's going to be able to neutralize his, jiu-jitsu with his own grappling. I mean, Ben's also a black belt.
Yep.
Been doing jiu-jitsu for, 10 plus years now. And I get a feeling it's going to be boring. I think Ben's going to take him down.
Yep.
And, he's just going to ride on top of him and try to, do some ground and pound. I don't think Ben's going to submit him. I don't think Damian's going to submit Ben. And I don't see a knockout happening in this fight either. I think it's going to go to a decision where, Ben getting the takedowns and being in control on top is going to be the difference.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think with this fight, obviously, in Ben's first 2 fights, right? Listen to the stat. He has 0 significant strikes. Think about that right now. 2 UFC fights, he has 0 significant strikes. I know his last fight was 5 seconds, but even in the Robbie one, like that one was so quick, it was crazy. So
yeah, I mean, he got ragdolled for like 2 minutes, and
oh my God,
grabbed Robbie's head. But,
yeah, and then he got flatlined in his second fight versus Jorge. But dude, I'm just excited to see his wrestling because I've watched YouTube videos on him. I've seen some of his fights, but I'm really excited to see how he's going to do against a UFC caliber fighter.
Yeah.
And when I look at Damian Maia, right, his biggest struggle, I think, has been against high level wrestlers. You look at Colby beat him.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Woodley beat him. Kamaru Usman. So I think that might be his kryptonite. So if Ben Askren just sticks to the game plan, he watches film on Maia versus all those guys, he's going to win this fight. If Askren's as good as, he says he is, and obviously he's one of the best collegiate wrestlers literally ever, he's nasty. So I think if he sticks to his game plan and just wrestles and, mixes up some strikes, because Maia's not the biggest threat striking-wise, right? So it's just hopefully he fights his fight. I want to see him back in the win column, man. I love his trash talk. I love the way he presents himself and just shits on all the other fighters. He's the man, dude. I think another loss taints everything and what he's done, and him coming into the UFC with a lot of hype. So I'm hoping he gets in the win column, man.
Yeah, no, me too. Yeah, he had a lot of hype behind him coming into the UFC. So yeah, loss could definitely set him back, but I don't see him losing this fight unless there's something crafty that Maia does from the bottom. But I think that's the only way he wins the fight is some crafty little submission that he's able to work in.
Yeah. No, I agree. I overall, probably going to be a boring fight. It's going to be friggin', 10 o'clock in the morning, but hey, we got a little morning fights. And then at nighttime, we have an absolute banger of a fight. Rory McDonald versus Douglas Lima 2, the rematch for the welterweight Grand Prix final and $1 million. Their first fight was absolutely insane. These 2 guys are the 2, I think, one of the top 2 welterweights in the world, honestly. Rory is just such a goddamn animal. Lima is such an animal. Their first fight, Rory came out with the decision, but it was at a cost, man. Lima was destroying his leg. Those leg kicks were some of the most brutal leg kicks I've ever seen. Yeah. Rory's leg, it was friggin' this big. The welt on it was disgusting. He said it affected him the whole fight, but that's what makes Rory so goddamn good is he does not quit. So that's why I'm hoping that the rematch here is going to be a lot better. I don't know how they can top the first one, but I'm hoping it's just a 5-round war again. But I don't know. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a repeat. I think they're going to come out the same exact way.
Yeah.
And Rory has to find an answer for those leg kicks, because he lets that happen again. It's not gonna be a good night for him. He was literally getting kicked in the leg and falling to the ground.
It was brutal, dude. He said that it literally hurt him like a month or month and a half afterwards. Like he could barely walk. Like that's how vicious they were, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
And dude, Lima's a 2-time champ. Like Lima is one of the best in the world. I love the way he fights. He's coming off that vicious knockout of MVP, highlight knockout. He's the man. And the best part, I wrote about this in our blog. These guys respect the shit out of each other. So it's been nothing but just mutual respect, no shit talk. They understand that they're, one of the top 2 welterweights in the world, and it's going to be an absolute war. So, I don't know, definitely going to be an exciting fight, man. If I could just make a prediction now, I'm going to say Lima, just because Rory, I feel like he's been talking a little crazy, talking about how he doesn't have it in him anymore to have that killer instinct to punch someone in the face. So I think you can't have that kind of mindset when you're going up against Lima, because he'll just ragdoll you. Still think it's going to be a 5-round war, but I think Lima's going to come out with the hard-fought decision.
Yeah, we'll see. It could go either way. This one's such a tight fight. I don't know. I can't even make a prediction on it.
Either way, great fight in the morning, absolute banger of a fight at night. So overall, it's going to be an unreal weekend here. Hopefully we get more news about the Nate Diaz thing, just so we can figure that out. Hopefully Conor's actual opponent got confirmed. I want to definitely figure that one out. So other than that, special guest coming on the podcast on Saturday. We're going to be recording Joe Skeletor Giannetti, who fights in Cage Titans, lightweight division. For those of you who don't know, he fought on Tough, made it all the way to the finals, lost the decision. He's working his way back up, trying to get back to the UFC. We're able to meet him at the fights in Boston. He is literally the coolest dude in the world, came right up to us. So he's willing to come on to the podcast, kind of talk about himself. I know he's probably going to have some opinions on the Nate Diaz, the Conor McGregor stuff, and let him talk about his journey back to UFC. So super excited about that. We're going to record that Saturday, so we should have that out by next week. But other than that, great week of fights, a ton of news, a ton of shit happened. So in the meantime, until next time, Flatlined MMA. Peace.